Deadly Ears is the result of over 30 years of trying to approach the Aboriginal pandemic of ear disease. The program has 35 ENT surgeons volunteering to go to remote communities and operate. But more importantly, it has 28 full-time staff who aren't ENT surgeons. They're the health workers, the allied health people, the speech therapists, the occupational therapists, the teachers of the teachers. We're there to educate all the workers within the remote communities how to handle 90% of the kids being deaf for a significant period of the year. Come in now, Zara. Come in and have a seat. I've been coming to Cherbourg for 25 years, twice a year. I know a lot of people in the community. It took a while to catch on to the culture, that there's a carer who may be looking after 10 kids in their clan, and for them to come down to Brisbane takes them 6 hours by public transport. They've got to stay the night or two for their kids to have an operation. We're better off coming here and doing the surgery here. We've found over the years that when the kids come to our patients, they often deny every symptom, and you look in their ears and they're pretty awful. So we've developed this system of Cecil, the health worker, goes into the local schools. He knows a lot of the kids. He talks to the teachers. He gets the audiograms from the Office of Hearing Service audiologists. He takes pictures of the eardrums and he sends it down to us, so we work out which kids we've got to see early, which kids Cecil can continue to see by himself, and we put together an operating theatre list, and those we need to see at outpatients, and we come up here. We'll be operating for a couple of days. We'll be seeing outpatients for about 2.5 days. It's a widely accepted program. People in the community like it, and the anecdotal evidence is that it's been very, very successful. Well, 13 years ago, we developed a system of operating inside rooms of hospitals without operating theatres, and we were able to prove that it's extremely safe to do this surgery in a small area which is completely sterile. We can offer the same level of safety as can be offered in a major tertiary referral teaching hospital in Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne. We can set up the Army mobile small anaesthetic machine, the monitors for the oximetry, for how much carbon dioxide is being breathed out. We have the expensive short-acting drugs that get out of the system quickly. We try to use disposable instruments. You get a little operating theatre pack that costs $50. These things use them once and throw them away. It's all made for ease and lightness and safety. It runs very well. A lot of Aboriginal adults, they don't like swimming. They don't like putting their head underwater because a lot of Aboriginal adults have got untreated perforations of their eardrums. Was that happening with you?
I found I had trouble every time I have a shower, the water would get in my ears, and I try to protect my ears a lot.
Mrs. Conlon's had ear disease all her life. She was quite deaf. It had been a lifelong problem.
Feel the water going there.
Did it sting?
Ear. No, it didn't sting, but I could feel it going into my middle ear.
Yeah, so pus would come out sometimes?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. Was that more associated with getting a cold?
It would come out.
Or be associated with water in summer? Were they summer-based infections or winter-based infections mostly?
I think they were summer-based infections.
So they're more often the water, it was the hole? Yeah, okay. So about a year ago we did a maringoplasty, we did a grafting operation. Has it been okay since?
Yes, it's been really good.
Has it made any difference to your hearing?
It sure has.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
With the fluid build-up, I think there's a combination of a couple of things. I always say that it's an environmental thing. It could be with the overcrowding in the houses. It's also to do with the season that we're in. If it's summertime and if our creek has not been flowing, the children are swimming in there, and that's where they get a lot of ear disease, especially fluid build-up.
Has he had a cold or chest infection recently at all? No sniffles, nothing at all? Awesome, okay. And what was his operation previously for? Grommets as well, okay.
Unfortunately, Aboriginal people seem to have a soup of organisms in their upper airways which make you prone to ear disease and sinus disease. And we think that there is vertical transmission of infection from parents and siblings and cousins to the baby, which is a green field site for bacteria to establish themselves. and produce what we call a biofilm in the nasopharynx, in the back of the nose, and from there it spreads to the ears and the sinuses. And within 2 weeks of growing those bugs, these kids had their first ear infection.
And do you have any loose teeth at the minute as well? No? No wobbly ones? Okay, good.
It's very rare for a Caucasian child to have an ear infection under the age of 3 months, but 100% of Aboriginal children in rural Australia have had an ear infection by the age of 3 months.
And this bed is for you. Do you want to jump up on here for me? Under here, we've got a jelly donut here.
We know that the bacteria which cause the ear and sinus infections in children live in the adenoids. We know that if you take the adenoids out only, about 50% of people have no further ear disease. It's safe to take adenoids out from about the age of 18 months to 24 months. It's safe to graft eardrums after about the age of 5. So we do the laryngoplasties as early as we can, often after the adenoidectomy has been done. We put grommets in kids, but we've got to be very sparing about putting in grommets. If you put a grommet in a child, he can't handle keeping water out of the ear, and a lot of the water around here is the local creek, full of Pseudomonas. It is a thing that makes a grommet more trouble than it's worth. So if you've got a little kid who comes to our clinic without much hygiene, if you put a grommet in that child, you convert them from being a deaf child to a deaf child with a discharge. So that dampens their hearing, and your brain grows according to the stimulation the brain gets. So the auditory association areas are left underdeveloped.
Israel, good boy.
So there is quite a link between ear disease and what is happening in mainstream Aboriginal society in Australia at the moment. When the kids are at school, they've got glue ear, so they can't keep up with the teacher. They get tired when they've got to concentrate to listen, so they get into trouble. They get bored about school and they stop coming to school, so they can leave school illiterate.
Hello, my baby. Did you have a sleep?
Aboriginal ear disease isn't new. It's been around for decades, and it's only now that the Queensland State Government, I think of all the jurisdictions in Australia, is actually taking this problem seriously and addressing it as it should be. There is a role for surgery, it has to be in the communities. There is an even bigger role for the allied health workers to teach the teachers and to teach the health workers how to address this pandemic.